Welcome, everybody, to this rescheduled City Planning Commission meeting. Today is Wednesday, March 13th, 2024. It's 5:15 p.m. I'll call this meeting to order. In attendance, we have Commissioners Lesage, Olson, Smith, Barron, Gusky, and Veliker. Also, we have Garrett. Also, we have Kivala and Aaron Jensen in attendance for staff. Thanks, guys. So we have an agenda. We just need a motion to approve that so we can start.
So moved.
Motion by Gusky, second by Olson, that we approve the agenda. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, say no. All in favor, signify by carried. We have Planning Commission minutes from our public hearing in February and 7th, and then also our regular meeting on February 7th. Again, we just take a motion so that we can place these on file. So we'll need a motion. Take a motion so that we can place these on file. Move to approve. We'll need a motion.
Second.
Motion by Olson, second by Lesage, that we approve the Planning Commission minutes for those two meetings. Discussion. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, say no. Motion carried. Action items, certified survey map for 1036 Townsend Road. William Andrina Vetter.
Thank you very much, Mayor. This one starts on page 6 of your packets. This is a certified survey map that is officially splitting a lot. In the past, Townsend Road was redirected through this parcel, which did split it. However, it was not split officially into Lot 1, Lot 2, in which it would have a separate parcel number and separate address. Mr. Vetter had come forward and was looking to start a business on Lot 2 of the CSM. And as such, we told him that he would need to officially split the lot into two separate so that they were separate parcels, and then thus could have a house on one and a business on the other. Upon splitting these, Lot 2 will remain industrial I2 and Lot 1 will remain agricultural AG. And this is just, again, kind of a cleanup, splitting the lot officially.
Anybody have any questions?
Do you have any plans to develop? Is that or what spurred this? Do you have any plans
So
to develop? Is that or what spurred
he's
this?
sort of already started using it for the intended purpose that he would like to use it for. He's looking to do outdoor storage. As part of this process, he has also applied for a fence permit to do the proper screening for outdoor storage. And then he does have plans to do a sign for his business. And then there are plans for a future expansion of outdoor storage, but also it would be outdoor storage of equipment, parking of his trucks, things like that. But also a possible structure for this parcel. So he does hope to develop it further. For the time being, it would just be to fulfill the requirements for the outdoor storage of his equipment. And then I guess just as a side note, currently as it stands, again, nothing is changing with Lot 1. It is staying AG, which currently this is a non-conforming parcel, as AG does require 5 acres because it's agricultural land, and this Lot 1 is only a half acre or under. So nothing is changing with that. We're not amending that. We're just splitting the parcel, making sure that we bring the one into compliance, as the other one is a lot harder to bring into compliance. So we're just leaving it the same as it has always been. So we're just leaving it the same.
All right, so we are, all right, so are we approving? We are, I get these mixed up.
Your recommended council.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're okay with this, we need a recommendation, a motion to recommend this certified survey. A motion to recommend. Do you want to make a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Make a motion? Dana?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Gusky, second by Olson, that we Motion by Gusky, second by Olson. Recommend to council a certified survey map for 1036 Town. Recommend to council a certified discussion map for 1036. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Discussion.
Aye.
Against, say no. Favor, signify by saying aye. Carried. Ordinance number 07-2024. This is an amendment. Chapter 18.25 Design Standards. Chapter 18.25 Design Standards.
Thank you very much. This one starts at page 7. I would direct you down to page 7. I would direct 14, as that is where the red line or blue line in this case starts. Red line or blue line. So a few changes that we are looking at making in this subdivision ordinance is relating to the pavement width. So we are going through the process of developing in our River North area. We're also just taking a look at future street widths, the cost that has substantially increased since many of our streets are constructed, and how that affects housing affordability. So we are trying to be a little more lenient on those widths while still maintaining the required dedication width, and only adjusting or allowing for the adjustment of the pavement width to reduce the amount of asphalt, et cetera, that would be being used. I did work with our Department of Public Works to verify these, and also many of these have had the asterisk. If you look on page 15 specifically, and the table under 5, many asterisks have been added because we have done more of ranges than just a hard set number. And that asterisk would allow for the Department of Public Works to fully define the pavement widths and allow for a little flexibility depending on what's going on. So some of those changes would be allowing collector streets to be between 30 and 44 feet in pavement width, and that's curb flange to curb flange. Minor streets would be 22 to 38 feet instead of just 38 feet. Cul-de-sacs would be 22 to 38 feet instead of just 38 feet. Alleys could be 10 to 20 feet instead of just 20 feet, and pedestrian ways would be 5 to 10. So those are really the major changes. The other changes within the rest of the ordinance are just kind of cleaning up to ensure they match the newly proposed table in section 5. And those are on page 14, you can see that in section H, and page 16 in section HI, those changes. And then also a minor change further down, just getting rid of a comment of judiciary, I can't say the word, committee, and changing it to the plan commission. So happy to take any questions. We can talk about it more. Thoughts on why those ranges were selected. Justin, I'm sure, can provide better input on that. Otherwise, this is coming forward as a recommendation from staff in ordinance format, hoping that the Plan Commission would recommend it to council, and then we'd have a public hearing and 2 meetings at council. Okay. Happy to take any questions.
Why were those ranges selected?
I'll jump in here. So, a couple reasons. When we've been going through our projects recently, we've been talking a lot about road diets, so narrowing the pavement widths down. Cost is a big thing, but then also to accommodate other methods of travel. The code was first set up for basically just everybody driving everywhere and to park on the side of the streets. So we're society and us, we're moving towards adapting to that. So cost is one thing, having different alignments with bikes and peds and all that sort of thing. And the range was more to kind of define or follow more of like the DOT code. So the DOT has a minimum lane of 11 foot. So if you can see on a minor street, the minimum should be 22 feet. That would accommodate 2 11-foot lanes. And then we changed the wording, curb flange to curb flange. Now what that is where the curb meets the pavement of the road. And again, that is to line up more with the DOT. So if you think of Fulton Street, we have 4 lanes there. That 11-foot minimum lane, that outside lane is you get to 11 feet if you use all of the curb. But for the DOT, that would not count as far as they're concerned. So really, we only have like a 10 or 9-foot lane there, which you can definitely feel it when you come down the hill. So I guess it was just to kind of better match those standards, help us with, I guess, grants in the future, kind of because our code matches the standards. And then, of course, again, to just accommodate other different configurations that we're seeing now with pedestrians and bicyclists.
Thank you.
The only one I had a question on, Justin, I think you have thought this through too, but with your cul-de-sacs, you have your trucks that have to plow there. Even if you were to reduce it down to 22 feet, you still feel comfortable that trucks will be able to turn around and stuff.
Yes, so that is the pavement width of a street. There is a section, it's written somewhere else where the radius of the turnaround has to be, we didn't change that, 160 feet, I think it was, or 120 feet. So that part didn't change. So what you're talking about, the turnaround area is still, that standard is the same.
So the cul-de-sac will still be wider than
Right.
22 feet. Right. Okay. Sounds good. Anybody else have any questions? So you're just asking for us to verbally say, hey, we think this is good and let's move forward?
Unless you feel otherwise. Then you can say something else.
Meaning, we could recommend this tonight?
Yes, that would be staff's intent to recommend it tonight. It does need to go out for public hearing yet and a class 2. So we would not actually see this at council until, I believe, this second meeting in April.
Okay, and where are we gonna do this public hearing?
Council.
Council?
Yep.
All right, so if you are okay with this, then we're looking to recommend this ordinance to city council. If not, we can put it on next month's meeting. If you
I
want
would-
more time.
I would make a motion to recommend the proposed changes. If staff's bringing it forward, I trust their judgment on it.
Okay.
I'll second.
Seems pretty straightforward.
Okay, so, motion by Veliker, second by Olson, that we recommend to council ordinance number 07-2024, understanding that there will be a public hearing before a future city council meeting. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, say no. Motion carried. All right, Jarrett, we're down to reports and development update.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Those start on page 19. The first report is for zoning permits. It has been a little slower for those, but thankfully so, as many of those have been a little bit more difficult to work through, or just have different unique characteristics that have prolonged the amount of time it took to complete those. Building permits, however, although there is no graph, sorry about that, our system underwent an update, and we have to update our reports to make these work again. But building permits have not slowed down with the nice weather. Everybody seems to be out and about, and we especially won't reflect on this report, but we're especially feeling that now as we've seen quite an influx of permits come in. People starting to get the spring fever and start planning for their projects. But this is a little bit of a prelude. There has been quite a few permits pulled over the last month that we're continuing to field. So good to see that people are continuing to do work. In terms of development updates, we have started to see the first few permits come in for the River North cottages out of Industrial Drive on their new private drive, Lorry Way, that has not yet been constructed but will be constructed with the project. So starting to see those come in. Division Street, we did receive an update from the contractor that we should hopefully see a foundation approval coming forward from the state soon. They're just kind of waiting on the state for that, and then they're hoping to do an early start permit for the foundation as the state continues with their regular construction permit approval. And then they'll, of course, come to the city, get our local permits, and then we should be off to the races for that. So if I had to guess, maybe late March, April sometime, we would start to see those start to come in and field and take care of those. So they're looking to start this year, though. Those are probably the big ones. We've seen 4 new single-family homes come in recently, which is good to see, outside of our River North area. One on Granite, one on North Franklin, another one out in the Eastgate subdivision, and then also one more over on Hartcourt, the condo single-family homes. So good to see those continuing to come in. Otherwise, we do expect more to come in outside of River North, but we also hope we can get River North up and going by the end of the year.
Anything on U-Haul or the apartments on the Foundry property?
Nothing from the Foundry apartments. From the last things we've heard with the Foundry apartments, we haven't really checked back in with them. We've really just been waiting for them to come back to us for that project. And then in terms of U-Haul, we have been trying to communicate with them via email, phone, trying to work it out without initiating the violation process and the citation process. But we have initiated that process now. Sent out a letter, provided them a timeline. If the problems that they have on their parcel are not resolved in that timeline or corrective steps taken to correct those actions, we will start issuing citations. So,
Hey, do you know, is it their goal to have a truck for every house in the city of Waupaca on that lot?
there's a lot of trucks out there.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Yeah. Any other questions about the development that I didn't touch base on? There's a lot in my head, and I try to remember it all, but I can't. So please feel free to ask. Public Works is still slowly moving along. I'm not quite sure why they're taking so long. Leaning on shovels, I suppose. Kidding.
Is the project on, how's that progressing on North Main Street?
Oh,
The distillery, right?
The distillery. They are moving along. They are currently working on the fire protection element of their building. With it being a distillery, it does have a hazard classification,
Oh, gosh.
which makes it a little harder for that.
I think so.
But they are working through that, and we want to make sure we get that right, just because it is a 0 lot line building, and it's in a very valuable part of our city, next to other valuable buildings. So we're just trying to make sure we get that right with them, working with their contractor. But if you didn't see, they were putting in more windows today. They have all the plywood off the front, I believe, unless they put it back up. But midday, they were putting up windows, and it looks fantastic.
Right now, Henry, they're targeting a fall opening.
Okay, any other questions? Comments? All right, I guess we're looking, I know this is tough to take, but we're looking for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Lesage, second by Olson, that we adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, say no. Motion carried, we're adjourned at 5:34 PM.